and welcome to Coffee and a Conversation with Capital News. I'm Jacqueline Gelano, and I'm joined here today with Kevin Kraft, who is running as an independent candidate in the Kelowna-Lake Country-Coldstream riding. Kevin, before we start today, I do have a question. How do you take your coffee?
Usually fairly dark with a little bit of milk.
That's so we can accommodate that. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, Kevin, you have a very full life outside of your political career. Teacher, vermiculturist, you were a community firefighter for 8 years. You're on the board with the RDCO. You're the East Area Director and the Vice Chair. Yeah. You have 3 children. What is it that for this election motivated you to run as an independent?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the only independent in the Central Okanagan that wasn't affiliated with the BC United fallout. And so I made a promise that I wanted to be in a higher level government, but I also wanted to put myself where I can best serve and where I can do the most good. And that provincial level jurisdiction is kind of that sweet spot with regards to different responsibilities: water management, forestry, agriculture, firefighting, wildfire. Like, those are the things that I care about, that I'm passionate about. Also, provincial priorities, supporting different recreation opportunities, investment, infrastructure, and utilities investments across the province. Like, there's so many things that are important for growing communities, especially here in the Okanagan. Like, we have a lot of growth pressure going on, and we're going to have a lot of demands put on our systems and our waterways, and it's just a position where I feel like I can make the most impact by helping keep either party accountable as an independent, because it's a really unique role to play. And so, the ultimate result is that running as an independent, it's a unique opportunity. We're in unprecedented times in this provincial election, and I really think that you're going to see some interesting results and some interesting kind of Hail Mary policies coming from both sides. And I really think the grounded, locally rooted independent option is something that is favorable, or there's an appetite for from constituents.
Yeah, so there definitely is, we've seen an appetite, but other people say that, voting for an independent is a throwaway vote, especially someone that wasn't formally affiliated with a party like BC United, because there's whispers that those candidates are going to form some sort of an allyship if they're to be elected.
Right.
So why would someone vote for an independent like you who doesn't have that sort of background? What's the benefit there?
Yeah, I think the narrative is gonna kind of grow in interest, and so there's 3 things going on there when we're talking about vote splits, or throwing out a vote. One, if the constituents and the 2 parties are worried about vote splitting, they should have done a better job at recruiting the candidates that are representing their party in the ridings. Second of all, there are a mass amount of people, regardless of supporting BC United or not, that are not happy with either side. And the 2 options that are provided are something that constituents are really interested in, kind of choosing a political camp. They're kind of stuck in that void. So I really think the independent opportunity offers them the best opportunity to represent their communities without those political strings attached. And third of all, there's been a lot of people who have basically said they would abstain from this election, and they're not happy with either option. And to bring more voter turnout and be a place for people who are a little frustrated with the options that are provided, the independent option is truly a very strong place to land with regards to that opportunity of representing local issues, representing the local voice, having that rooted connection, and bringing that voice to Victoria. Because at the end of the day, that's the job of an MLA, is to engage with your constituents, have an office where people can come and voice their opinions, their problems, their issues, and be addressed and be reachable, and ultimately be relatable and reliable to those constituents. And I feel like there's a perfect opportunity here in this provincial election. We have a handful of elected MLAs who are running independent. We have many of the BC United kind of candidates that are running as unaffiliated now. And we have a varied amount of independents running throughout the province. And like I said, as the only independent in the Central Okanagan, I'm honestly doing this and running for the right reasons, running to represent my community, running to represent families like mine. We are in the midst of really challenging times economically, healthcare, like all of these huge issues that we're trying to address as a province. It's tough to keep up as a family that's trying to do their best to just work and make ends meet and make it to the end of the month, and then have a glass of wine and just cheers each other and say, hey, we made it, but we got to do it again, and it's challenging because it's stressing all layers of system, economy, industry, housing, and everything else. It's extremely challenging.
So, Kevin, your riding is not only geographically expansive, it's also very diverse from Rutland all the way to Coldstream and everything in the middle. The populations have different needs.
Yeah.
What do you feel are the biggest issues facing the communities in your riding? And what are you going to do to address them should you be elected as MLA?
Yeah. I think as an MLA, it's really important to have a very broad understanding of the local issues. And if you don't have that, I don't know if you can best serve as an MLA. Talking geographically, this riding has become larger. We've incorporated Coldstream into the riding, and I know a lot of the constituents in Coldstream are concerned or frustrated with being looped into this particular riding because there's so many conflicting demands between one end of the riding to the other, rural versus municipal. So with that being said, I want to offer the opportunity as an independent candidate who is locally rooted. The best step to take forward for a place like Coldstream and the constituents of Coldstream is to really focus on who is as locally rooted as possible, who has a good grasp of some of the local issues, and offer up maybe that independent opportunity to be represented and be heard. That's a really important issue, just geographically speaking. But we have issues up in Joe Rich. We have highway projects being completed, and we have high volume highway use both in tourism season and ski season. We have the expanding of the airport and its impacts on the Eastlands and in the area of Ellison. We have both academic institutions, UBC Okanagan and the Okanagan College, who are looking to expand their local offerings or look how to kind of fit or fill that void that's maybe being presented in their budget, asks. And I think BC Tree Fruits has been a situation that's needed to be changed for a long time. The timing of it is unfortunate, but I think what can rise from this situation is going to be favorable for farmers in the area. Rutland Middle School, and being a Rutland boy and graduated from Rutland, I know that there's so much angst with regards to the focus and the priority of Rutland Middle School, whether it be an expansion, an addition, a complete rebuild. And so addressing the minister last year at UBCM, I got, kind of an answer with regards to budgetary pressures across the province. But we got to recognize that the Central Okanagan has been growing significantly in population growth. Schools are pressured and overpopulated, and Rutland Middle Schools continue to be kind of that thing that we're passing off on the side of our desk. And so as an independent candidate, we have the opportunity to flex our muscle on both sides of the coin, whether it be policy from the NDP, policy from the Conservatives, trying to engage in policy creation that's going to benefit everyone for the greater good. And I really think that that's where that unique fit as independents really can make a difference and really get traction on some of these local issues. Municipal governments, we've all been elected officials now for 2 years. We're halfway through our term. We've attended a lot of conferences. We've attended a lot of meetings. We've heard all the issues. We've heard a lot of reports. We've heard a lot of studies. We all know what kind of needs to happen, whether it be wildfire or agriculture action or freshwater management and increased utilities. Like, there's so many layers. And like I said at the beginning, I really think an MLA can do their best service having a broad understanding, a broad scope understanding of all the issues going on from one end of the riding to the other, understanding rural versus municipal, and the pressures that the province and legislative issues that are putting differentiated pressures on all of these things is really causing.
Right.
And finally,
yes,
the rail trail.
Oh, yes!
And right smack dab in the middle of my riding, it is blocked off on either end, making anyone who's trying to cycle or be a pedestrian on that and access either Lake Country or Kelowna, or cyclists who are coming from Lake Country and going to UBCO for work or as students, you're taking your life into your hands going onto that highway.
Yeah.
And I will be relentless in trying to get traction on that and seeing that finished, because anytime I see in the news that it's expanding on one end or the other, or it's making progress, and I live right smack dab in the middle of this riding, and I live right there where the blockage is, and I'm like, I really want to see that finished.
Yes,
absolutely, it has to be finished. Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad you brought it up, because my very next and final question for you has to do with the good things about your riding. So you say you have a comprehensive understanding of the issues in your riding. What are the best things about your riding? So what is your favorite thing to do within your riding in the fall season?
The favorite thing to do in the riding, there's something special about driving through town, whether it be through Upper Rutland or through Ellison, and this time of year, smelling the apples and smelling, the rainstorm that we just had, and we get those smells that you can just enjoy, and it's just something so special. We are in such a beautiful place, and to have called the Okanagan home basically my whole life and grown up, there's so much nostalgia and care and aspiration to kind of give back to the community and work within the different communities. And so, the favorite things I love to do, I love camping. I love spring and fall camping. Middle heat summer is really tough sometimes, but spring and fall camping is some of my favorite. I mean, we're hunting and fishing season right now, which is amazing, even though it's campaign time and I'm running for an MLA spot.
It's hard to be out in the bush while you're campaigning.
Yeah, and if you want to talk about issues, that wildlife management in British Columbia needs some attention, and I can't wait to do that, because the outdoor recreationists have been asking for some changes for so long, and I'm excited to offer that opportunity. But the Okanagan, like I said, has been the best thing for my family, and it's where I wanted to raise my family. It's where I wanted to have them experience the experiences I had, and being a product of coaches and teachers and caring communities that put a lot of time and effort into me. It's like there's nothing more, inspiring, motivational than to try and give back to the community that's put me here. So again, it's been a pleasure, and thank you for letting me do this and being invited and doing this. It's been great.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for coming. We really enjoyed having you on Coffee and a Conversation with Capital News. Thanks so much.